Welcome everybody to my first Dead by Daylight video, and probably the 100th FNAF related Dead by Daylight video. You have all probably seen tons of videos breaking down FNAF and Dead by Daylight, or come up with your own ideas of what a potential collaboration between the two properties might look like. I did want to throw my own hat in the ring though, because I really enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's. It is a franchise I hold near and dear to my heart, and I've wanted this collaboration forever. I've been playing Dead by Daylight since, I want to say 2018, when there was physical copies on the Xbox. And also just, I think it would be really cool. I have my own ideas on Dead by Daylight and how Five Nights at Freddy's would be integrated into it. And I'm very happy with the health updates they're rolling out. I do think the potential hugeness of Five Nights at Freddy's played a part in realizing we want to retain this player base. But I'm not going to say that for certain. To get this out of the way, I think we've long disproven that this isn't just a skin collection and this is in fact a full chapter. Now, while we don't know the extent of it, interviews with Matthew Cote, I think that's his name, and the King have answered the question that this is a full chapter by probably this clip that you've seen 1,000 times reposted on your Twitter or subreddit or even in our FNAF DBD videos. But I'm going to play it again just for the people that don't know. To what extent, though, we still don't know what this chapter is going to contain, but I would like to speculate and see from the killer choice to the amount of survivors, a potential map, and even going through the effort of making my own perks and coming up with a power for my choice of killer. Starting off with the killer, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I think it's Springtrap. I really think it's going to be Springtrap. Look at my profile picture. Look at these pictures I have up on here. Look at everything when you see all the FNAF stuff on DBD. It's all Springtrap. Everyone wants Springtrap. So for it to not be him, it makes no sense whatsoever. Now, I'm still going to give my line of logic as to why it's not going to be any of them. Okay? When you think of Five Nights at Freddy's killers, tell me, do you really think of Freddy Fazbear on his own, or Foxy, or Mangle, or any of the Fun Times or Phantoms? No. You probably just think of a few select characters that have their own gimmicks and playstyles in the game that don't just come over to you and kill you. I treat the core 4 as more of a group entity, something that will work better with Knight's power where you get to control one and the other 3 are AI. Now, if we didn't have Knight, I would say, yeah, the core 4 could be in Dead by Daylight, but because we have Knight, I really just think it's going to be one killer with their own standalone power, not relying on other characters. So yes, when we get to the power section, I don't think Springtrap's going to be controlling the Phantoms. There are other characters that could work on their own. To name a few, we have Nightmare, Nightmare Fredbear, Ennard, and, you know, kind of just those 3 in the Scott era of the FNAF games. Like, let's think about it really quickly. Tell me, Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear, do you have any potential ideas for powers or playstyles for how they'll work? Because with Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear, they seem to teleport around and just disappear and laugh to reveal themselves. It really just seems like they'd work more as a Wraith skin, if you don't mind the bell or whatever. They'd probably just cut that out though and just replace it with their laugh. And Ennard, his whole thing though is mimicking voices, and he just approaches your office, crawls around, and wears skin suits. It sounds more like the Unknown's lore abilities than his gameplay ones, but still, I do think, minus the UVX cannon, Ennard would work better as an Unknown skin. There's one more character that could work as a solo killer, and that'd be the Mimic. But considering we're gonna have a Mimic game coming out, you might think, oh, well, this would be good marketing. But here's the thing though. We don't know how well Secret the Mimic's gonna do. And I don't think Scott wants his collaboration with Dead by Daylight to just be an advertisement for the newest game. I don't think we're getting the Mimic at all. Which is why I just think we're gonna get Springtrap. His personal bias, he just fits the best. And if he could be voiced by Matthew Lillard in like a legendary skin or something, that'd be great. Staying on the subject of killers, though, before we move over to Survivor and perks, let's talk about his power. So I've seen a lot of people try to do their power revolving like, sorry, not power. When they give Springtrap a weapon, a lot of people choose to give him a fire axe, which, in my opinion, doesn't work. Springtrap's never once wielded an axe through official media. He's used his knife and presumably his hands. And Matthew Cote, in another interview, I don't remember which one this was in, but trust me, it exists, has described creating a M1 power for Springtrap to be similar to Sadako, where it's just not going to be a simple hack and slash. It seems like they're going to get creative with it. I did see one idea revolving around like Afton controlling like the vengeful spirit as his power, like a wisp sort of thing, and I think that'd be really cool. But I think William Afton, if we're leaning more towards games, would work best as a stealth killer for his power. His attack could have a knife or like whatever. He could use like an endoskeleton part or something. But my idea for Springtrap's power is that when he uses his like activate ability, like like the M2 or whatever, he'll move slower. His terror radius will be gone, so he'll have like an undetectable, kind of like Myers and Ghostface. But it'll also kind of like phase out, similar to Freddy. And the closer he is to you, the more he'll phase back in. And while you're like in that ability, when you attack, you perform a jump scare, which hinders the survivor and also it puts them into the injured state. But the recovery is like 2 seconds longer if you attack that way instead of just a basic M1 attack. I also think it'd be really cool for Springtrap to have like a thing where he could choose to put survivors in springlock suits instead of hooks. I just think that'd be really cool because he like hides all the kids in springlock suits and everything, or no, just the suits, not just springlock suits, but like the core 4. And I also think like maybe like Xenomorph Springtrap could have like vents around them, and Xenomorph and Demogorgon Springtrap could have vents around the map he could use to traverse. So he'd be like more of a stealth killer. He'd probably have like a base terror radius of 32. He'd probably be like as fast as Trapper. I think I want to say like moving at like 4.06 meters per second. I'm not really good at this stuff, so this is just like my ideas. Anyway, yeah, Springtrap having a more stealth-oriented power, relying more on himself and his tactics rather than the abilities and help from other like beings, just works better in my opinion. On to the survivors. As we all know, Pines of Praise doesn't really have a lot of characters to pick from. Human characters anyway from the games. Most of them are pixelated, and the only like adult character we have is Vanessa, because Behavior doesn't really like putting kids in their game, which I completely understand, not wanting to put anyone under 18. They literally aged up Quentin for the Nightmare on Elm Street chapter, and I'm pretty sure they made their own version of whatever the survivor's name from Ring was. I don't really pay attention to like a lot of survivors unless it's something from what I know. That's why I like play Ash or Bill or Leon Kennedy. Anyway, I don't think a lot of the characters not having canon designs will stop them though. I think we're gonna get Michael Afton as the main survivor of the chapter. I think Behavior is gonna, with the help of Scott, because Scott is closely working with them, they're going to come up with their own interpretation of Michael Afton. It's going to be the main canon design we're going to see for the character. And I think it's going to be his pre-scooped but sister location uniform. When it comes to Michael's lore, I think that they could go one of two ways. Either we get pre-scooped Michael, and that lore comes from the entity taking him right before he gets scooped. Now, if we're going post-scooped, then I could see Michael being taken from the FNAF 3 fire, even though he gets out. I still think the entity is going to take from FNAF 3, not anywhere else. And I think Springtrap is not going to be taken since he also survives. I think Springtrap is going to follow that into the entity's realm. He's just going to walk in. Some other characters, if we end up having 2 survivors, which I really want to, we could just get a random security guard like Fritz Smith or Jeremy Fitzgerald or a random technician, but I think those will work better as cosmetics. Or we could get Henry Emily, which we do have kind of a can design, but I really hate this character encyclopedia look. If Skeet Ulrich is actually playing Henry Emily in the second FNAF movie, then I would just rather wait just to get a legendary Henry skin based off of Skeet Ulrich. So I want to just... So that leaves me with one last character, Vanessa. I think Vanessa would actually work great as a second survivor, even without the Mimic or Burn Trap. Her last name starts with an A, and she has an abusive father named Bill A. Like, the parallels are off the charts here. I think she would work great in, like, context, having William remind her of her own father. Now let's get on with the perks. I've come up with 3 perks for each of these characters. So I just want to start off with Michael. Michael is a tough guy to break. He always has a plan to keep himself out of trouble and learns from his past mistakes. His 3 perks include 6 AM, Tough Shift, and Boon Remnant. 6 AM. When the clock hits 6 AM, you know you can relax and head on home. When all generators are completed, you and any survivor within a 5, 7, or 9 meter radius of the exit gate gain a 2, 3, or 4% movement buff. Great job. This completes your task for the night. We'll see you again tomorrow. Hand unit. Now, I wanted to just make a perk based off of helping you in the end game, because everyone knows, like, once 6 AM rolls around FNAF, you're done. Animatronics stop, the horrors of the night stop, you can just leave. So giving you like a little buff, I think would just help a lot. And I know I don't have the generators in the like concept plan. I just realized that 6 AM didn't really make sense unless it was another boon totem or like dealt with an exit gate. Maybe a complete generator would work, but this is just what I have. Tough Shift. Not every night goes smoothly. Sometimes you need to choose your next move carefully. When you fail a skill check, the killer will not be notified and you gain a 5, 6, 7% speed increase for whatever action you previously failed. Once used, this perk will go on cooldown for 90, 75, 60 seconds. How was your first night? It was interesting. Mike Schmidt from the movie. I think a perk helping you with your mistakes just once would be really helpful. And the reason I chose 90, 75, and 60 seconds would mean that this perk would only really work like once per action. So I think it would be pretty forgiving. Maybe it would probably be lowered to like 50, 40, or like 30. But I think the higher cooldown just works better. And finally, Boon Remnant. While your body wants you to give up, Boon Remnant. While your body wants to give up, your emotions give you strength. When a survivor within 8, 10, or 12 meters of the Boon Tome, any injured or downed survivor will be able to heal themselves with a 5% speed increase to the next state. I should be dead, but I'm not. Michael Afton. These 3 perks focus more on Michael's role throughout the series with the scooping incident and his fact as a security guard throughout the movie and the games. It was really fun coming up with these perks. I really hope there's nothing like them already in the game, and let me know what you guys think about them. Now let's get on with Vanessa. Vanessa always gets her job done. She's efficient and strict on the rules. Her 3 perks include Closing Time, There You Are, and Lockdown. Closing Time. You just want everyone to leave so you can finish up your shift. When you join another survivor repairing a generator, The generator will get a 3, 5, 7% repair speed increase. I don't have time for this, Vanessa. There you are. You always seem to know when something isn't right. Whenever you blind a killer with a flashlight, their aura will be revealed to all survivors for 6, 8, or 10 seconds. Gotcha, Vanessa. Lockdown. Your job is to make sure no one gets in without you knowing. Whenever a killer breaks a pallet wall or damages a generator, survivors will see the killer's aura for 3, 4, or 5 seconds. Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown, Vanessa. I want Vanessa's perks to just rely more on her job as more of a roaming security guard, someone who's just fed up with her job and wants to head home, and the fact she's so annoyed that Gregory's still in the pizzaplex and also her job being like a constant surveillance just makes more sense to me. I get they're a bit shorter than Michael's, but I just feel like these are more like aura and altruistic perks for teammates and everything. I think some of these perks, like closing time and there you are, or I feel like closing time and lockdown will probably get more use if something like this is in the game than there you are, since there you are is more of an, let's say, like, you know, God, what's it called? It's not selective. Circumstantial perk, I'll call it that. But anyway, I just thought these perks were really cool ideas. I thought they fit her character really well. And let's get on with the main attraction. Oh yeah, quick side note. I think Springtrap's name, I want to give him the animatronic. The attraction really only works in the context of FNAF 3, and I think the man behind the slaughter would be a dumb meme name, and the yellow rabbit isn't gonna work unless he's actually yellow. So I think the animatronic would just work the best. A monster who won't rest and feeds off the suffering of others. His lust for control makes it hard for him to be stopped. Springtrap's main perks include Connection Terminated, Hex Agony, and Always Comes Back. Connection Terminated. Even with the end drawing near, you refuse to give up the chance for one more kill. When all generators are powered, any survivor attempting to open an exit gate will scream and reveal their aura to you for 3, 4, 5 seconds. When the exit gates are open, the endgame collapse will drain faster by 5, 10, or 15%. You will not be spared. You will not be saved. Hex Agony. You feed from the suffering of others. It empowers you. When a survivor is hooked, a random dull totem lights up. Any survivor within 8, 12, or 16 meters of the totem suffers from the oblivious and blindness effect. I will make you suffer. Suffer like so many others. William Afton. Always come back. No matter how hard they try, they can't stop you. When stunned, the killer will be able to break pallets just by walking through them and gain a 3, 4, or 5% haste buff for 5, 6, or 7 seconds. Once done, this perk will go on cooldown for 45 seconds. I always come back. William Afton. I think these 3 perks, showcasing William Afton's bloodlust and desire for suffering and helping him in his stealth gameplay, would just be great choices for him. I had fun making all 9 of these perks, and I hope we see like something like any of these once the chapter rolls around, because I do think they're just good ideas regardless. Now that I'm thinking about it, since I've been playing a bit more since I wrote this script, Hex Agony might be a little bit too much like Hex Oblivion, but it's the best I could come up with. Moving on to the map. Maps are usually said to be the hardest part of any chapter, so I really think we'll probably just get either the original pizzeria or Fazbear Frights as the main centerpiece, and have kind of like neighborhoods and other houses and bushes and roads and stuff, kind of like Haddonfield or Bad Am Preschool, but obviously designed better and more fun. Let's get on the cosmetic next. Resident Evil, Stranger Things, and I'm pretty sure Silent Hill had tons of cosmetics when they first got into the game. So I just want to give my 2 cents of like some of the skins and other characters we could see in this chapter. Starting off with Springtrap, I would like to see a Spring Bonnie skin, a Scrap Trap skin, a Burn Trap skin, the Yellow Rabbit from the movie with Matthew Lillard voice lines, an 8-bit skin from the final FNAF 3 minigame, and the Agony creature from the Frights books. All these skins would be amazing, and I would empty my wallet for every single one of them. I think the hardest thing I'd have to choose is which one to play as. Michael Afton could get a Freddy Fazbear's guard uniform. He'll have a pre or post scoop style. His Foxy Bro look would be pretty cool, and a legendary based on his movie counterpart, as well as a Henry legendary skin. I would hope that the movie legendary skin would be voiced by Josh Hutcherson too. For Vanessa, I think she could also get a legendary movie counterpart skin voiced by Elizabeth Lale, a Vanny suit with the mask kind of like on this her like side or her like belt clip, a technician skin similar to Michael but based off her FNAF AR look, and maybe a Charlie Emily legendary skin based off of the books. For survivors, I think that they could choose 4 different survivors, give them a Freddy Fazbear's night guard uniform, a day shift uniform, a technician, and maybe one sent around the staff bots from Security Breach. For Blight, I would very much like to see either probably Grim Foxy. Instead of using syringes, Grim Foxy could rip out power cells and put a new one in, similar to FNAF Help Wanted in his parts and service minigame. For the twins, there's a few different ideas. Maybe Chica or Cupcake, Circus Baby and a Bitty Bad, or Funtime Freddy and Bon Bon for those skins. As a quick side note, again, all these skins did have powers in mind, so I think Funtime Freddy would work best for the twins since Bon Bon's whole thing is that he's the one that charges as you, and you could replace the twin sickle with Funtime Freddy's microphone. I have 2 different ideas for Legion. One is a Vanny skin from Security Breach, and the other is the FNAF 4 Bullies, with Frank being Foxy, Julie being Bonnie, Joey being Freddy, and Susie being Chica. And Dredge also has 2 different ideas for it. The first I have is Molten Freddy, since that character's whole thing is just based on being an amalgamation of wires, just a mass of like spaghetti, just wires, with the Funtime Freddy head being the only discernible feature. A second idea could be a completely original look where it's an endoskeleton base, but all the parts are taken from Fazbear Frights. So like all of like the heads and the statues in Fazbear Frights for the FNAF 1 characters, plus the box of FNAF 2 parts would just make up Dredge. I mean, there's a Bonnie guitar and a Foxy hook. You could easily make something with that. For Knight, I did bring this up earlier, but if you replace Knight's greatsword with Freddy Fazbear just holding an instrument, like maybe a microphone stand, and you could make each of the other 3 characters the Knight's AI, with Foxy being the assassin because he's fast, Chica being the Carnifex, and Bonnie being the jailer. I don't know what either of these guys do. I've never seen a Knight player use anyone but the assassin. And I would like to see something puppet related, maybe using Phantom or Nightmare on for the nurse. They're both lanky, slow, and they kind of have a little teleport thing going on. But maybe more of a theme skin rather than outright it being the character. And one final idea would be Dreadbear for Doctor, since they both deal with electricity, and I just think having some more obscure characters would be really cool. Going on with the execution, I genuinely think what the most likely thing that's going to happen though is just getting Michael, Springtrap, some skins, and getting a second chapter with Vanessa and the Mimic, if this one does well enough. I do think it would be cool though to do a double chapter, maybe even somehow include the Mimic, 2 killers, 2 survivors, a map based on Fazbear Frights, and a map based on like the Pizzaplex. And this would definitely be their biggest chapter ever, and I could see them going all out for us and disregarding the rules like they did for RE and Stranger Things by giving them 2 survivors, a map, and a killer, which was something that was never done before. Anyway, I think that's all I really have in terms of my speculation and wish list for the Five Nights at Freddy's Dead by Daylight chapter. So let me know what ideas you guys have in terms of perks, maps, and characters, or even anything else really. So have fun in the fog. I can't wait for this chapter to get revealed at PAX East. And I'll see you all May 9th once it comes out. Make sure to like and subscribe before you go as well. I'll catch you all on the flip side.